Yo, what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman420 with the Weedman420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. And we're about to get normal with a new strain given to us by a new friend, Dave from Space Mint Grown. Basement, Space Mint Grown. Dave, thank you so much for giving us this strain. This is the first time we're smoking one of the three strains you've given us. And this one won the Urban Legend Cup for Best Aroma of 2024. And this winner is Hawaiian Grapes, which is Truffle Aloha times Grape Rock Candy. It was bred by an Illinois breeder, too, called Newbie Nugs. So we want to thank you, Dave, and Spaceman Grown for also congratulations on winning the best aroma and then also giving us some little smoky smoke.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm super stoked because when I was grinding this, it looked fantastic and it smelled. Now I know why Dave won best aroma.
Mm-hmm. I smelled it when I walked in the house. I smelled it. And I asked Mr. Weedman, "Are you smoking weed without me?"
I wasn't,
Nope.
but I was smelling it.
Just grinding it and rolling it.
Very beautiful nugs, very tight, fluffy when you grounded it up, not dry at all, purple, nurpley, lots of trichomes. We have a little baggie here we're looking at right now.
So purple.
Oh, yeah, so purpley. Just nice job. Looking for. We haven't smoked any of your strains, Dave, yet. We waited for the show, so we've had this for about 2 weeks now, but we appreciate you and donating to the cause, and we look forward to getting baked and enjoying this beautiful, beautiful strain you gave us. So thank you again. And while we're talking about this, I want to read something real quick that we got. Another email, or I guess on Buzzsprout, people can send emails to us or letters to us. And we got somebody that listens to the show sent us something really funny, and I figured I'd read it. So I live in Milwaukee, and I have a cabin in Forest County, Wisconsin. Oh, wow, that's delicious. On the border of the Upper UP. Next spring, y'all invited, and Yuki too. Thank you for thinking about Yuki, because I don't go home without her. I am up here deer hunting, and I'm a little buzzed, but I've really been enjoying the show. I'm going to meet up with Big Earl soon and get some seeds from him. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Nice.
No name, but thank you, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the Upper UP for that lovely, lovely letter that you sent us on Buzzsprout. We appreciate you. And before we get started, we'd like you to check out 8decades.com for all 8 Decades gear and Weedman420 gear. Check out 8decades.com with the holiday season coming up. And we have a big sale going up on our website this week, going all the way to Cyber Monday. Check it out. 20% off. All store online. And what, Mrs. Weeman? Free shipping?
Free shipping over 50.
Over $50. So check out 8decades.com and to get all your goodies and gifts for all your family and friends and all your stoners, burners, and potheads. 8decades.com, everybody. And also, Mrs. Weedman did it.
I did.
Your first newsletter will be going out.
Yes.
Yes. And if you would like to get on the newsletter, hit up 8decades.com and go to sign up to our subscriber base, and you can get a monthly email or bi-monthly email or whenever Mrs. Weeman does one. But this first one came out great.
I added a little pop-up box notification on the 8 Decades website. It'll pop up and ask you to sign up for our newsletter. If you sign up for the newsletter, it's first, last name, and email address. Then you're going to be on our newsletter list, and you'll get 10% off on your first order.
Wow.
So,
Plus the 20%. Too.
No, you can't stack all the discount. We can't give everything away, Mr. Weedman. Sorry.
Man, sorry about that, everybody. I got excited.
It's called business.
I got excited. If you're not watching on YouTube, I was doing the old water boy when the Creole guy was in the stands cheering for water boy, and he was playing with his upper body.
His nipples. You can say it.
You can say nipples. Thanks, Ms. Weedman. I just did. One of the favorite holidays of the year is coming up here. You'll probably won't hear the show till after it's over. But Thanksgiving is here, everybody. A time to be with family and friends. And
I have a cough drop in my mouth. I gotta get rid of it.
Family and friends and loved ones and people you may have not seen all year. One of the busiest travel is probably the busiest travel day of the year, and it is an exciting time. And we hope that you all here in the States enjoy Thanksgiving with your friends, loved ones, family, whoever you celebrate with, or whatever you celebrate with. Hopefully you eat lots of turkey, or if you don't eat turkey, if you eat what did the kids used to have when they were vegetarians? What was it called?
Tofurkey.
Tofurkey. You want one of those tofurkeys?
They're supposed to be very good.
I heard they're good. I don't know if I'll ever try
No,
one.
I don't think I will.
But the thing about turkey is Mrs. Weeman doesn't go for turkey. She has her one little piece, and then it's all the trimmings, all the sides, everything you think of that her mom and we cook and all the family brings. Mrs. Weeman has a plate of sides and no turkey.
Oh, a little slice.
Like a teeny turkey. You should just have the tofurkey instead.
No, I've been kind of like the turkey with the cranberry sauce has been my jam.
Nice.
Like cranberry sauce and gravy.
Too much mixture for me.
It's pretty good.
Not me. Not what I like to do. But everybody have a phenomenal Thanksgiving with your friends, families, and loved ones. Have some fun, and then do the cousin walk, where you, after dinner, you take a nice little stroll so you don't fall asleep on the couch right away from all the turkey you ate, and go for a cousin's walk. And if you don't know what a cousin's walk is when you go, hey, we're going to go outside for a second, and you go for a walk and you smoke a doink.
And lately, our table pretty much clears out for the cousin walk. There's more cousins walking than there are cousins sitting.
And actually,
the whole table clears.
There's like 3
out.
people left at the table, and there's like 20 of us going for a cousin's walk. Yeah. It's like a group, and Mr. Weedman, of course, has like all the weed, so he's
like the Pied Piper.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of mice following you through the city with big clouds coming out
Just
all over the place.
Follow with your nose.
Yes, because it always knows. So, but here's what I'd like to say though: if you are alone this Thanksgiving, or you have to work on Thanksgiving, or if you don't have family and you don't have food, there is shelters out there. We did a food a few years ago back at our local high school. We went and served food to people. There is places out there and shelters out there that do provide a turkey dinner. So please try to find one and go enjoy the company. There is always people eating, and there is plenty of shelters out there serving turkey, or neighborhoods that are serving dinners for families that can't afford at this time. It is expensive. Things have gotten a little pricey, and but please don't be alone on this holiday. And if you are alone, we love you and we're praying for you. Right, Ms. Weeman, you got anything to say?
Yeah, Thanksgiving is my personal favorite holiday because it's just I'm a quality time kind of person, and that's all it is. It's just getting together, sharing a good meal, laughter, stories. Usually there's some element of drama. I bet most people can relate. But all in all, it's just a good feels kind of day, and everyone's pretty happy on Thanksgiving. So It's just good. And like Mr. Weedman said, you might have to do a little work to find some place to have a meal with people, but do it and make yourself feel good for the day. If you're in a rough time and you feel like the last thing you want is company, sometimes it's exactly what you need. So smoke a joint, get over your little anxiety for the moment or your big anxiety for the moment, and put yourself someplace where you can have a plate of food and tell a story with some people around.
Yeah, please do. Stay warm too.
We
It's
hope
getting
that
cold
you
here.
all enjoy this holiday.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And if you haven't watched Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving this year, it sucks because it's not on fucking CBS like it used to be all the years of me growing up. And TikTok's great. And I'm going to talk bad about them in a little bit, but TikTok is great for some reasons. And what I love about TikTok is there's a lot of Gen Xers on there, and they post a lot of stuff from when we were growing up. And so I'm able to watch all the Charlie Brown Peanuts shows because someone posts them, and I'm able to catch all the episodes because you can't watch them anymore. Aren't they like on Apple TV or some shit
I
like
don't
now?
know. I don't know where they were.
It was on like PBS for a minute. But back when we were growing up, back in the late 70s.
Like up to 5 years ago.
Yeah,
you would just see it
but
on
when
network
we
TV.
were growing up, though, remember on CBS, because all the cartoons used to be on CBS back then, it was a big like musical thing, and it was it had said the word special, and it would turn around in a circle and look like all trippy, and then it would come on the screen, it would say special, and you knew the holiday cartoons were coming. You didn't have that here?
We might have had it, but I don't remember.
You didn't
it.
watch cartoons like I did.
No,
dog.
I didn't watch cartoons like you did.
We waited, and we knew when these, because back then you had the newspaper that had the what in there, the TV guide, or you had something called the TV guide. And if you don't know what that is, the TV guide is where you can. There's little articles in there.
It was a weekly magazine.
A weekly magazine that had all the TV shows on local television. So we are dating ourselves a little bit, but you always knew when November came, you would look for those holiday cartoon specials that would come out, and then all of a sudden you had Thanksgiving, and you would always want to watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. It was amazing. And then after, it'd be another cartoon that I don't remember off the top of my head. It could be like Heathcliff or something like that. Their Thanksgiving, it was always a couple, like 2 or 3, and then you'd be able to watch It Was a Wonderful Life would come on.
That still comes on TV. We'll see if it comes on this year, but it was on TV, on network TV.
So you
last
always
year.
knew it was a Friday night, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, if you were on Eastern time, those holiday special cartoons, because you knew the special TV was all trippy, and it would come and it'd be like, and it'd go around a circle, and then special right on the TV, and you'd be like, yes, yes, the cartoons are on, the cartoons at night, because it was never cartoons at night, not like today where you have cable, you can go to Nickelodeon and watch cartoons 24/7. You can watch cartoons 24/7. I can go to Crunchyroll and watch anime all day and all night, 365 days a year. When we were growing up, though, you had Saturday morning cartoons, right, from 7 a.m. till noon, right? And if you don't remember some of those Saturday morning cartoons, if you're not of that age, they don't do this anymore. There was 3 stations. You had ABC, NBC, and CBS, and Channel 9, but here,
and 11, public television.
But they had the Saturday morning cartoons. Those were the 3 stations. And then during the week, you had very little cartoons in the morning. You had like 3 or 4 cartoons in the morning, and then you'd go over to PBS and watch Sesame Street and Electric Company. And then you'd come home from school, and you'd have your cartoons go from 3
till 5.
If you're 4:35, yes, because then they would start the news and all that stuff. So you'd have one station though that would play cartoons during the day after school, and you would watch He-Man and Thundercats.
That's exactly what came to mind, because I babysat all the time, so the kids always watched.
Did you babysit me?
Oh, Masters of the Universe.
Yes, there were so many good cartoons then, and I mentioned G.I. Joe, and oh my God, I can go through thousands of them, and they don't do that anymore. But that was the tradition that I knew the holiday season was starting. You know, going into Thanksgiving, into Christmas, and then you had Cartoon Mania, you know. And I missed those days. I missed those golden early years of my youth, and you just, it was special. You know, they call, my brother makes fun of me because now I'm in my 50s, and he calls me Uncle Scrooge. Because as a kid, it's so different holidays to where you're an adult and you have kids and you try to make it special, but then you look at your credit card bill in January, and Mrs. Weedman makes fun of me all the time.
Mr. Weedman is a Christmas Scrooge. I tell him every year.
All right.
It all comes down to money.
Here's what I have to say. I'm not a Christmas Scrooge. I love
you're a
Christmas.
You're a Christmas money Scrooge.
I am Uncle Scrooge when it comes to money.
Scrooge. Way too practical. Like there's a time of year that you just got to like not be practical a little bit.
Well, I realized how much money my parents didn't have and how much money they spent that, and it took them all the way to May to pay that bill off. You know, I didn't grow up with money; I was poor, and I watched. My dad was a kid at heart, and I loved buying all the toys for the kids and playing with them and stuff like that. But the point is like we didn't have money. And when we spend money, I was like, oh, man, I'm going to be eating pancakes again for the last 3 days of the month, which I hated doing. So, yes, I am a Scrooge when it comes to money. Everybody makes fun of me. They call me Uncle Scrooge sometimes because
we don't need presents.
I don't need. It's supposed to be about being with people.
Hey, fundamentally, I'm with you on all of it. You know that.
Right.
Like, I think that Christmas is just ridiculous. I wish Christmas was like Thanksgiving, and we just got together for the purpose of getting together and sharing time and love and friendship.
And a couple gifts are
camaraderie.
fine.
Yeah, something small. Like it's just ridiculous. And we've played into it. Trust me. Like we've been there. We had kids. We've had obnoxious Christmases.
Oh my gosh.
You know, a year money's good, and you just blow the budget, and you buy them the things they want because they didn't get them for maybe 2 or 3 years.
Right.
We had those years. We did that. Now we're back to kind of like feet on the ground. What's the point? Why are we doing all this craziness?
1 or 2 gifts to me is great.
But we're doing actually for fun this year with my family. Now that all of the nieces and nephews are young adults, they want to be in a grab bag with the aunts and uncles, and so we're doing kind of an all-in-all family grab bag. Everybody picks one person, and it's like a $25 budget, so it's very practical, reasonable, and then just you're sharing a token of appreciation.
Yep.
But the rule is nothing new, nothing mass-produced. So you have to make something, thrift something, estate sale, whatever, just something creative, baked, whatever, cook it, whatever it is, just not
Grow it.
Grow it. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. I mean, you can't,
Yeah,
there's so
something
much you can
different.
do without spending a lot of money.
I think as I got older, it didn't really happen until I was like in my 40s where I became Scroogey, maybe 30s. 20s, I was fine because I enjoyed it because it was like.
Well, when we were in our 20s, we had small children.
Yes.
And the nice thing when your kids are small, you could buy like a $20 toy. You could buy a ball. It's this big and it costs you $10 and it looks like you put some giant thing under the tree. So big toys went a long
fun,
way.
right.
It looked like they got a
But
lot.
I think as I got older, I realized
and then
how
they got
much
older and like a $500 item is like
they wanted
an earring.
They wanted laptops. They wanted $500,000
Yeah.
laptops. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, they never
Saying
asked
ain't
for
that
crazy
rich.
stuff. Yeah.
But here's why I think as I got older, I got Scroogier because I saw the waste, meaning like I saw how much was thrown out
Yes.
and how much ended
Yes.
up like 2 years later. You saw those Christmas
And the
toys.
stuff that never gets played with.
Right,
That never
and you
gets
see all those
worn,
Christmas
and-
toys
yeah.
being thrown out, and all that plastic end up in landfills
Had to
2
have
3
it.
years later because those kids outgrow them. They don't donate them. It's just like I guess that's when I became Scroogey. I just saw the waste that happened. Like why did
Oh,
we?
yeah.
That I
Yeah.
think that's the reason why I got Scroogey.
Well, and we have,
Yes,
we're very
Many.
like-minded on
Yeah.
that, but yeah.
So it's not that I'm Uncle Scrooge.
We just have to tease you.
Yes, of course. I love
I
being
mean,
teased.
come on.
But the holiday season is great. It's a lot of fun. It's not the days of old when we used to go to the malls and the malls would be packed and it would be so much fun. You'd want to go. Yeah, but as a kid, you like going to the
Yeah.
mall because you go
Santa,
Yeah, and you go to play
the
the arcade
decorations,
and your
yeah.
parents would give you $1 and be like, "That's supposed to last me." I'd lose in like 2 minutes. 4 quarters would be gone in like 30 seconds, and I'd be like, "Dad, I need more money." Didn't I just give you $1? How long did you play for? Well, I played Space Invaders and I got wiped out in 2 turns. Kind of thing. But the old school malls were so much fun, and we had so much excitement, and I feel this Christmas year, I just think we all need a lot of blessings and we all need a lot of love and we need a lot of kindness out
Kindness.
there. We just need to help fellow man and women and everybody else out there, and just to make sure that it's a loving holiday this year. Thanksgiving going all the way into the new year. I think we need to just show love and kindness to everybody and just be happy. Just make a world of difference. Free hugs for everybody, Mr. Weedman. Oh, one thing I want to mention before we get started. Here's something we did last year. We're talking about the grab bag. Mrs. Weedman and I did a white elephant. Mm-hmm. But how we did this white elephant, we have 16 people, and everything we collected from all the cannabis events we went to, we saved, right? Mm-hmm. And we filled up 16 bags.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 16 bags of cannabis stuff, whether it be accessories, smokables, edibles, tinctures, whatever there was. And nobody knew what was in these bags. Nobody knew there was.
They all knew it was weed related.
Right, yes.
Because we didn't think we'd even have 16 people to do it.
Yeah, and they all wanted
And we
to do
were
it.
like, oh, do we do it downstairs, off in the distance? Or nope, we brought it right up to the living
Yeah.
room. Grandmas were there. Like my mom's 82. She was there.
She wanted her bag.
Yeah, she wanted a bag.
Yeah.
Like next thing you knew, even the non-smokers were like, put me in that. Get me in there. I want one of those. Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much
So
fun.
yes, we did a white elephant with all the so it didn't go to waste. Because if not, I would have thrown out. I couldn't use all those trays and all the joints and I mean it was so much stuff we collected last year. I don't even know if we have as much as we did last year.
I think we have more.
We have more, even better. So if anybody wants to donate to the cause, any brands out there that want to give us some shirts,
We do
and
have
stuff,
a lot of consumers in
we
our
do have a lot of
family.
consumers in
Yeah.
our family. And last year when we did this,
They went nuts
they
over
were
it.
they were nuts. There was fighting over a bag because they wanted this one. They one had a little mini bong, water bottle bong in there, and that person wanted this, and they made a trade, and it was kind of fun. It was just, it was fun to watch over cannabis. The excitement of
And
like,
how just like nobody was like, this, what are we doing? This is
Right.
terrible. Like nobody had a
Nope.
problem
Nope.
with it at all. It was
Nope.
super cool.
Mr. Weeman, come on now. You know what we do. So, but it was a lot of fun. And if anybody has anything they want to give us to put in this white elephant bag, any brands out there, we'd be happy to donate to the cause, to the white elephant this year. So, you ready to get the show started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Foul cannabis byproduct could be avoidable. You ever heard of shit lip before? Or resin lip?
Shit lip?
Yeah, shit lip.
No, I
You get,
haven't.
like shit lip, you know?
You got shit
got shit lip.
Hey, shit lip.
I do? Oh, man. I thought there was something stuck in my tooth. A lot of people find their lives improved by cannabis, but there are some downsides. Smoking itself can cause some pulmonary risk, and there's also the dreaded resin lip, also called shit lip or bong lip. All the names refer to a phenomenon where dark-colored sticky resin gets on your lips after hitting a joint, blunt, or bong. This has not happened to everyone. However, based on the countless Reddit posts and how to cure it, stoners out there are baffled as how to avoid resin lip. What are they fucking eating?
Yeah, well, how is that happening?
The resin that builds up on the lips is the same as which builds up in smoking pieces. It does not taste good and indicates that there may also be some gunk getting into the lungs. There are no dead set reasons that this happens, but there's a few tried and true ways to avoid bong lip, shit lip, resin lip, whatever kind of lip. Avoid resin lips with joints. The most solid way to avoid resin lips when smoking a joint is to use filter tips. And at the very least, a joint tip creates space between burning flower and tips, reducing the risk of resin touching them. Certain models can also filter out unwanted compounds and cool down smoke. Rolling less tightly may also help in regard. Many believe the compressed smoke increases the chances of resin lip, shit lip, or bong lip. Shit lip. I'm just going to call it shit lip. I guess it's funny. Faster airflow should translate to less buildup, so technically rolling looser will reduce the risk. Fixing resin lips is easier with rolled up treasures like blunts and joints, but it becomes more complicated with bongs. What causes bong lip? There are a few theories about what causes bong lip. Obviously, having a clean bong is the first step to avoid this anomaly. However, when black tar gunk ends up on your lips after hitting a freshly cleaned bong, what are you, just fucking eating it?
I don't understand.
People are left with the question. These theories hold the most weight. What are you, just like sticking your, like sucking it dry?
But the bowl is so far away from the mouthpiece.
Well, it depends.
I mean, I guess
some
if you had
people
a
might
little
have
short
small,
piece,
small
yeah,
bong or something like that. So,
or if you're like smoking unfiltered joints and you smoke it all the way down to the very end.
It's not,
so then
not shit lip, it's burnt lip.
Yeah, it's fried.
You're gonna end up with a blister lip in a minute. Grind less fine. One Redditor declared that grinding layer weed finally solved the bong lip problem. A few comments chimed in. The hack immediately worked. Finally ground cannabis will likely get packed more tightly, creating less airflow, which increases the risk of resin. Give less lip. I don't know if... Okay, sure. Ms. Weeman might give me a slap on that one.
Give less lip.
Yeah, when people get comfortable hitting a bong, some can let their lips slide into a bong tube while pulling. Curing chronic resin mouth could be easy as consciously pulling lips out of the tube each hit. Find a filter. Much like the joint tips, there are mouthpiece filters for bongs and other glass pieces. There's a bunch of companies out there that do make filters for bongs and filters for joints. And there was one company that it was the first to introduce a filter that snuggles into the bong tube. A small carbon filter sits in the middle of the console, silicone piece, to not only stop resin from hitting the lips, but also filter unwanted gunk from getting into the lungs. Get a new bong. The last resort for getting rid of shit lip is to get a new setup. Sometimes it's hard to clean a bong. The downstream continues trapping resin, or the chambers can trap moisture. Whatever reason, at the certain point, stoners must decide between dealing with resin lips, shit lips, bong lips, or getting a new bong. Fighting resin lip one theory at a time. Nobody wants sticky black crap on their lips after ripping the bong. Turns out they don't have to. There's ways to avoid resin lip from joints, blunts, and bongs. Though nothing is scientifically proven, fellow cannabis consumers have shared these methods could do the trick. So don't get shit lip, everybody. Cannabis and cognition.
Yeah.
Not the brain drain we've all been warned about.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Ms. Weeman.
This is so great. So, yes, there's a lot of old research and conclusions that your brain is just going to melt, right? Because you use weed. Well, this study says different. A 44-year study. This is huge. This is a huge, huge, huge study. A 44...
How huge?
44-year long study.
That's huge.
That's huge. That's really watching and studying things.
So huge.
So huge. It's fucking massive. A 44... Hey, Mr. Weedman, 44 years. All right.
We're 8 decades, not 4 decades.
This study flips the script on cannabis and mental decline. Could THC actually spare your smarts? Ha! For decades, cannabis has been painted as the ultimate villain in the story of cognitive decline. Remember Nancy Reagan's ominous warnings about frying your brain? this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And it would be a skillet with the fried egg. And it would be like that. Entire generations grew up believing that a single puff of cannabis could tank your IQ and leave your memory in tatters. This narrative, we grew up with it, baked into societal stigmas and amplified by cherry-picked studies, still lingers today. But now, as cannabis steps out of the shadows of prohibition and into the medical spotlight, science is finally catching up to reevaluate these long-held assumptions. Enter a groundbreaking longitudinal study spanning 44 years, over 5,000 Danish men included, titled Cannabis Use and Age-Related Changes in Cognitive Function from Early Adulthood to Late Midlife in 5,162 Danish men. This study could rewrite the script entirely. And this isn't your average slapdash experiment. Methodically meticulous and transparently conducted, it asks the burning question, does lifetime cannabis use really impact cognitive decline? The answer isn't just a surprising no. It's an eyebrow-raising, maybe cannabis users actually fare a little better. Yes. In this review, I'll unpack the study's findings, highlight key takeaways for those who prefer the unfiltered truth, and explore what these results mean for real life. Spoiler alert, this isn't a story of harm, but a testament to the incredible resilience of the human brain. The Danish cohort study followed 5,162 men from early adulthood around age 20 to midlife around age 64. Researchers used IQ as the primary benchmark for cognitive function, comparing changes in IQ score over decades between cannabis users and non-users. The clinical findings. Cannabis users had less cognitive decline, of an average negative 0.53 points. What does this mean? Non-users declined by negative 6.8 IQ points. So negative 5.3 for the users and more points, negative 6.8. Cannabis didn't just avoid harm, it showed slight preservation of cognition. Another clinical finding, frequent use didn't cause more decline. What does that mean? No significant cognitive loss, whether users consumed occasionally or frequently. Clinical finding, age of starting cannabis didn't matter. What does that mean? Starting young at age 18 or later, 25, had no major effect on midlife cognition. These results don't suggest cannabis is a brain booster, but they thoroughly undermine the long-held belief that using cannabis is a one-way ticket to cognitive dysfunction. IQ provides a standardized way to track cognitive trends across decades, making it practical for long-term studies like this one. However, IQ is only part of the picture. It misses areas like executive function, attention, and real-world decision-making. While it's a helpful tool, IQ alone doesn't define cognitive health. Think of it as one piece of a much larger puzzle. If you're worried that experimenting with cannabis in your youth doomed you to a foggy-headed future, this study offers some relief. Maybe you're the person who dabbled in college and now wonders if those late-night study sessions came at a cost. According to the study, your brain likely bounced back just fine. It's also a reassuring read for older adults who use cannabis medicinally for chronic pain, anxiety, or sleep. If you've ever worried that years of occasional cannabis use have caught up with your brain, the results say otherwise, and you're probably fine. But let's not get carried away. This study isn't a free pass to reckless cannabis use. While cognition might hold steady, heavy or habitual use can still lead to dependency, impaired decision-making, and other risks. So as always, moderation and mindfulness are key. Some other key points. Cannabis isn't frying your brain. The long-held myth of brain-frying cognitive doom doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Cognitive health is about the whole picture. Your lifestyle choices, education, and mental health matter far more than your cannabis use. Moderation matters. Too much of anything, even kale, isn't a good thing. So how can these results help? Well, by redefining harm, the idea that cannabis destroys your brain isn't accurate for everyday cannabis users or the canna curious. This finding might take the edge off of some of the fear. It offers a way to balance choices. If cannabis helps you sleep, if it eases chronic pain or reduces anxiety, you can feel more confident using it without worry about damaging your brain. Another way is that context matters. This study reminds us that cognitive aging depends on many factors: education, mental health, parenting styles, and socioeconomic support matter far more than occasional cannabis use. For years, cannabis was the scapegoat for cognitive decline, reinforcing stigma and shame. This study offers a new perspective of compassion, understanding, and data-driven discussions about cannabis use. For those haunted by the notion that cannabis ruined their potential, this study feels like vindication. Many aging adults worry about cognitive consequences, but these findings suggest that thoughtful use can coexist with healthy aging. And, equipped with nuanced science, clinicians can have more balanced conversations with their patients. This study doesn't just challenge the stigma around cannabis, it dismantles it. By taking a long-term, patient-first approach, it shows that cannabis use over decades doesn't necessarily spell cognitive doom. Cannabis may not turn you into Einstein, but it's far from the mental menace we've long feared. For the millions of patients turning to cannabis to manage chronic conditions, this is a reassuring win. What if we stopped approaching cannabis with fear and embraced informed choice? This study suggests it's time to do exactly that. Yeah.
Do exactly that. That was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Good study. 5,100 Danish men.
Yeah, quite a few.
I mean, that's a lot.
Well, I think it's cool that it's that many people and it's over a very long duration of time.
Yeah.
20, 30, 40 years. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I'm glad they finally a good study. Mm-hmm. You know, something that's been 40 years. It's not a year study or 2 year study. 40 years. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, go ahead. Danish men, go get it. Can marijuana consumers donate needed blood? It's the most festive time of the year, but also the time of the year when blood donations are needed the most. If you use weed, can you donate? Blood is generally considered most needed during the winter months, particularly around the holiday season, due to the reduced donations caused by holiday celebrations, inclement of weather, and increased illness like the flu. This leads to potential blood shortages. Most people don't think of it unless they need it, but it truly is a life-saving donation, which is easy to make. But can marijuana consumers donate needed blood? The U.S. and the UK set up the first blood banks in the 1930s. Blood donations are down, and the American Red Cross declared an emergency blood shortage back in January of 2024. The number of people donating blood has decreased by about 40% over the past 20 years. The national blood inventory dropped more than 25% in July of 2024. The USA and the UK set up their first blood banks. If you drink alcohol, you can drink, but it has to be out of your body's system. It is recommended you not booze for 24 hours before donating. Like alcohol, you can donate blood, but you have to let the marijuana move out of your system. Potentially, donors cannot give if cannabis use impairs their memory or comprehension. The Red Cross does not test blood donations for the presence of THC, which is the psychoactive component in cannabis, but you should wait 24 hours from the last time you are high. Donating blood is easy. You go to the nearest location, sign in, show ID, and read information. You'll answer questions online or in person and receive a health check. The process is easy. A sterile needle is inserted into your vein or your arm, and blood is drawn into the bag. Donation usually takes 8 to 10 minutes and feels like a quick pinch. Afterwards, they provide a snack and a drink and 10 to 15 minutes of recovery before resuming your day. Blood donations are essential for patients who are undergoing surgery, have trauma, or battling cancer. A single donation can save the lives of up to 3 people. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you can up to 3 people. What health conditions do patients use medical marijuana to treat? This new study shed some light.
Recently,
and Dave, You got me high.
Yeah, I could tell you're baked.
Yeah, you got me high. You got
You're struggling over there.
Yeah, you got me nice and high. So all of you out there, and I smoked again. Usually I'll wait a minute, but you get back to back so quick in the show too.
Yeah.
I'm good. So this is a little bit of a longer article, so Mrs. Weeman, I'll be able to take a
little breather.
4 minutes.
Can't see so good.
Sorry, everybody. It'll come back. I won't smoke for a little bit. So
recently published data from tens of thousands of medical marijuana patients across the U.S. show that pain, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder are the leading conditions qualifying patients for state medical cannabis programs. Notably, 58.6% of patients also reported having multiple medical conditions that they treat with marijuana. Among those with co-occurring conditions, the analysis found anxiety and chronic pain were most common, followed by insomnia, muscle spasms, and PTSD. The average patient reported at least 2 conditions, indicating that medical cannabis users often face complex health challenges. The company Leafwell, which provided data for the study, said, "This complexity suggests that healthcare providers and policymakers need to think beyond single-condition treatments and consider how cannabis fits into broader healthcare strategies." The report was authored by researchers at Leafwell, a platform for obtaining medical marijuana cards, along with Duke University Medical School and the University of San Diego's Center for Cannabis Research. The team looked at anonymized data from more than 81,000 Leafwell patients across 32 states who used the service in 2022. Results were published in the journal Population Medicine. Authors said the findings represent a further step towards understanding the complex co-occurring medical conditions associated with the initiation of medical cannabis treatment. Understanding who medical cannabis patients are and the types of self-reported co-occurring conditions they report, the study says, will assist medical professionals in communicating with patients about using medical cannabis. Among other findings, the research indicated a roughly equal split of men and women among those cannabis patients, while more than 7 in 10 people identified as white or non-Hispanic. That group was followed by Black non-Hispanic patients at 10.4%, Hispanic patients at 8.4%, and patients of other races at 7.1%. Nearly 2/3 of patients were in the age range of 21 and 49. Another 25.4% were 50 and older, while 8.3% were patients under 21. The average age across the study group was 40. Authors noted that pain, anxiety, and PTSD were especially popular qualifying conditions that align with the other evidence about who uses medical marijuana and why. Earlier research has shown multiple sclerosis and cancer diagnoses were more common, suggesting the reasons for using marijuana may have changed over time, authors wrote, which would align with adding more qualifying conditions to state medical cannabis programs. Understanding patients' self-reported number of medical conditions holds value and aids in comprehending patients' perceptions of their medical conditions as it relates to medical cannabis usage, the report concludes. Overall, this work contributes to our understanding of who medical cannabis patients are and why they use it. Leafwell highlighted some of the report's implications for healthcare and policy. Among them is the importance of therapies tailored to individual patients, the growing role of cannabis in managing mental health, and general need for additional therapies to treat chronic pain. As cannabis continues to evolve as a treatment option, so will our understanding of its role in healthcare, the company said. With millions of Americans turning to cannabis for relief, it's clear this plant is making a meaningful difference. A separate Leafwell report from September found that legalization of medical marijuana across the U.S. could save nearly $29 billion in healthcare costs. That study, which looked at state-level healthcare savings in jurisdictions with medical marijuana, found that companies paid 3.4% less for health insurance premiums compared to places where cannabis remained illegal. This report strengthens the case that investing in cannabis care isn't just beneficial to patient care, it's also good for business efficiency, LeafWell Chief Medical Officer June Chin said in a statement at the time. By including cannabis in insurance plans, employers can foster a more inclusive and supportive work environment, enhance employee satisfaction, and ultimately contribute to a healthier, more resilient workforce. A federal study published earlier this year found that enrollment in state legal medical marijuana programs increased significantly across the U.S. in recent years, climbing 610% since 2016, and more states have legalized and expanded lists of qualifying conditions. Between 2020 and 2022, the number of enrolled medical marijuana patients in the U.S. increased by 33.3%. The researchers from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the Department of Veteran Affairs and the University of Michigan noted that the uptick comes amid increasing cultural acceptance of cannabis, recognition of the harm caused by the war on drugs, and overall interest in the potential therapeutic properties of cannabis. As for youth medical marijuana use, a separate study that reviewed patients under the age of 21 found that minors and young adults typically qualify for state cannabis programs for many of the same reasons that older adults do. Among those under 18, cancer and epilepsy were more common reasons for obtaining their card, while young adults aged 18 to 20 were more likely to cite depression, chronic pain, or insomnia as their primary qualifying condition.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
If you were watching on YouTube and you saw Mr. Weeman go out of camera for a second, Yuki's pillow fell out from underneath her, so I had to fix it.
Aw, Yuki. He loves you.
I do. I love her. You all know Mr. Weeman's social media account got whacked. All of them got whacked. And so I haven't started a new one, but there's a new thing that just came out. Social media's stance on weed, where cannabis stands on every platform. So it's just like little blips.
Yep.
Cannabis is the most censored industry on earth, especially on social media. Yet social media marketing remains crucial. It's a direct line of communication with your community. The most popular social media apps are private entities owned by billionaires, Zuckerberg, Musk, the list goes on. This means they have their own set of rules, regulations, algorithms trained to target cannabis. Regardless of where you live, and if weed is legal in your area, you run the risk of being flagged and even deleted. Me, I did. For going against their strict community guidelines. Today, this article is going to talk about which apps are 420 friendly, which are censorship hotspots, and how cannabis entrepreneurs can navigate the current social media minefield. Which apps are cannabis friendly? YouTube. YouTube eased restrictions on cannabis content in 2021. Since then, weed educators have been more visible. Your content will be safe as long as it's educational value. It's one of the writers' journalists' favorite platforms because people use it. Owned by Google, YouTube welcomes 2.7 billion monthly active users as of October of 2024. That's a lot. It offers the potential to monetize once you reach certain goals, 1,000 subscribers, and 4,000 hours of watch time in the last year. X, formerly known as Twitter. X is cannabis friendly. As soon as Musk acquired it in 2023, he announced that CBD and THC products would be allowed on the platform. Musk even accepts weed-related advertisements. The company Fast Buds became the first cannabis company to advertise on X following the historic news. Cannabis hashtags trends often on X. This is a safe haven for free speech and weed, as exemplified by feeds full of amazing nug shots from international growers. LinkedIn. The business of weed thrives on LinkedIn. You'll see plenty of plant photos and hashtags from the cannabis industry. Many insiders call it the best social media app for weed. LinkedIn has created a rare free space for cannabis industry conversations due to its professional focus, catering to businesses execs who are 21 and up. Reddit. Reddit is a brilliant community building tool. It's safe for weed photos, allowing you to age gate subreddit groups. It means for users to gain real-time advice from growers who specialize in cultivating their same genetics, especially in groups like Fast Buds Family. Also, our friend Terpfiend has a great social Reddit platform. Amazing. If you want to learn about growing and breeding and his oh man, it's amazing. Another space for growers on the platform is Trees, a subreddit founded in 2009 with over 2 million members. We also have one here in Illinois. Our friend Cole, he has one called Illinois Trees. I think it's like 45,000 now he's up to on Reddit, on his subreddit. So yeah, Reddit is fun. You can get lost in the sauce in Reddit. Discord, originally gaining popularity in the gaming community. I have a Discord. Weed has found an unlikely home on Discord. That's because it offers end-to-end encryption of video and audio. You can create communities called servers or channels. Similar to group chats, it's one avenue where weed entrepreneurs can speak about censorship. We've done some stuff with Big Earl. I've done some stuff on the Weed Met 420. I love Discord. If you want my Discord and you want to hop on with me, just reach out. I'll send it to you. Which apps are not cannabis friendly? Telegram. Telegram is a refuge for growers that it once was. It used to be a lot of things on there. A recent policy reversal on weed meant a lot of prominent cannabis creators lost their Telegram accounts. Telegram's latest policy states that users cannot engage in activities that are recognized as illegal in majority of countries. The cannabis community will miss you, Telegram. Here's hoping to one day weed will be legal in the majority of countries. TikTok. Oh my God. I love TikTok, but I hate TikTok. I love going on there to watch videos and laugh and look at all like wrestling stuff, old wrestling videos. And you see what I watch and anime clips and dog clips and shit like that. But as soon as I post something about weed, right away. But I just changed my name to WM420 on TikTok now. So we'll see if I post anything about weed, educational stuff, and it has to be the same style from what I was told. But let's read. If you censor the plant and focus on culture, you'll find a massive worldwide audience on TikTok. Success is possible. Even though China-based TikTok hates weed, its algorithm works best and will take down cannabis content within minutes. How about seconds? The app's guidelines read, we do not allow the trade of alcohol, tobacco products, or drugs. Thank God weed's not a drug. We also do not allow showing, possessing, or using drugs. Thank God weed's not a drug. TikTok is an untapped market for weed. If content goes viral on this app, it truly soars. Yeah, I have had that Yuki post. Soars with a Yuki post. On the negative side, if you are flagged, your account will be shadow banned and its reach will tank. And it's a gamble worth taking for many weed brands, from my experience. For some, this is the writer. Great risk means great reward. Now, I've had success posting the podcast. The podcast that I launched a new episode, but the last one I got flagged, so now I can't post anything for a while. I'll probably be shadow banned, so I probably won't get no reach. So back to posting pictures of Yuki. Instagram. It's a love-hate relationship with me right now. Facebook and Threads. Meta is a cruel mistress for cannabis creators. Yeah, that is a great fucking line right there. Cruel mistress. The platforms under Zuckerberg's Meta umbrella, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, all have the same draconian policies against weed. Its community guidelines are restricted goods and services. Reads, Meta does not allow ads that promote or offers the sale of THC products or cannabis products containing related psychoactive components or drug-related paraphernalia such as bongs, rolling papers, and vaporizers. Okay, sure you don't, Meta. Yeah. You are the cool mistress. So Mrs. Weedman shaking her head right now going, yeah, fuck you. Because we see it all. Instagram is one of the most widely used apps in the world with over 2 billion monthly active users. Against all odds, building an Instagram community remains an invaluable tool for the weed movement. Since its inception, cannabis creators have cultivated massive followings only for their accounts to be taken away without notice. It's a painful reality. There was the Fast Buds, I'll mention them again, lost a 250,000 follower community members due to account deletion this year, a statement they've grown all too familiar with in the cannabis industry. So then you ask people to follow up your backup account, which doesn't even matter.
You lose
oh my God, yeah.
a lot of people in that process.
Yes. Yeah. It's just a love-hate relationship with me with them right now. I'm being a brat. People
it's not even a love. I mean, it is a love relationship because it's our highway to information, right? For the world of cannabis.
Right.
It's just ironic that we play in this playground where we're not welcome. There's other playgrounds that would be happy to have us, and the whole world of cannabis is on Instagram.
Yes. And you sent me some new stuff they're going to start doing in 2025. Cannabis and cannabis-derived products, content that attempts to buy, sell, trade, donate, or gift, or ask for marijuana and product containing THC or related psychoactive components. That was one thing you showed. We do not allow high-risk drugs, drugs that have a high potential for misuse, addiction, or associated with serious health risks, including overdose, cocaine, fentanyl, and heroin. Once again, thank God weed's not a drug. Cannabis and cannabis-derived products, content and coordinates or promotes by which we mean speaks positively about, encourages the use of, or provides instructions to the use or make marijuana and products containing THC or related psychoactive components. Everything they just said there, wasn't that me on Instagram?
Pretty much.
Content that attempts to buy, sell, trade, donate, gift, or ask for ingestible CBD or similar cannabinoid products.
So those last two are going to be allowed.
Yes, I believe so.
Yes.
In 2025.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I sent you.
Yes. So we'll see, because there is advertising of hemp products now on Instagram. You see, I saw them.
There's already advertising of cannabis products.
Right.
They're just yeah. We could talk about this and just talk in circles
For hours.
Yeah.
Yes. Google is part of the updated policy in January 2023, making it so companies can promote Food and Drug Administration FDA-approved drugs containing CBD as well as topical CBD products with no more than 3% THC. Video game streaming company Twitch, meanwhile, updated its branding policy for streamers, prohibiting promotions of marijuana businesses and products while explicitly allowing alcohol partnerships. Interesting, Twitch had previously clarified rules in a way that was inclusive of cannabis, exempting marijuana-related references from the list of banned usernames, just as it does for alcohol and tobacco. In contrast to Apple, Google's Android App Hub updated its policy in 2019 to explicitly prohibit programs that connect users with cannabis, no matter whether it's legal in the jurisdiction where their user lives. Final thoughts. The last bit of advice. Stay the course. Social media is worthwhile venture. Get creative. Reimagine your content and expand the way you think of community building. No matter the platform, the weed community will keep growing. And then another article came out that says Puffco slams Instagram and Meta for blocking cannabis-related social media content. It was a beautiful article. I just summarized it here. Puffco, a maker of marijuana vaping devices, released a video criticizing Instagram and Meta for censoring cannabis-related content. The video highlights the negative impact on communities like veterans, medical marijuana users, and recreational users, suggesting Instagram's policy stifle legal cannabis use in the community building. The video urges Meta to update its policies, claiming selective targeting of cannabis content while allowing other objectionable posts. Puffco post coincides with Black Friday sale, but focuses on raising awareness about these restrictive social media policies. Frustrated. Look, Ms. Weeman.
Maddening.
Yeah, Mrs. Weeman. Man.
I'm like,
It's the holiday season.
It is.
What comes up in the holiday season? Like what is like your heart starts racing, your armpits start sweating.
Yes.
Your head starts sweating a little bit. Yes.
Yeah.
The holiday season is full of anxiety.
Yes, for many.
Okay, so we go back to why another reason why I'm Uncle Scrooge. Because I've been with this beautiful woman of mine for almost 31 years now, almost married 30 years, right? And I see the anxiety the holidays bring to you. And I think that's another reason. I think that's another reason why you call me Uncle Scrooge. Because I watch what you go through and you work your ass off. But no, it's not supposed to be part of it.
I know.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is why I become Mr. Scrooge, because I feel bad for you all these 31 years of seeing your armpits sweat. You ate mom's spaghetti, your knees are weak, your armpits are sweating, All
right, let me get to
So
this.
can microdosing help manage holiday family anxiety?
Carols, gifts, parties, and festive meals of your favorite foods are all part of the holiday season. But even in the best circumstances, there could be added stress. Surprisingly, 89% of people say concerns around money, missing loved ones, and anticipating family conflict causes them stress at this time of year. While some say it's a moderate increase and not unlike the rest of their year. While family time tends to provide a positive effect, there are plenty of causes for drama during holiday gatherings. For those experiencing some level of added stress, it's possible that microdosing cannabis can help manage your holiday anxiety and be a better solution than booze. Microdosing cannabis can be an effective way to manage holiday anxiety, offering users a subtle yet impactful approach to stress relief during the festive season. By consuming small amounts of cannabis with low THC, like 1 to 2.5 milligrams, individuals can experience the therapeutic benefits without feeling overly intoxicated. Microdosing cannabis can provide several advantages for those dealing with holiday-related stress. Low doses of THC can activate the endocannabinoid system, potentially leading to decreased stress levels without causing an overwhelming high. This can be particularly helpful during family gatherings or social events that may trigger anxiety. It might alleviate the effects of social anxiety, allowing individuals to feel more relaxed and confident in social situations. This can be especially beneficial during holiday parties and family get-togethers. Small doses of cannabis can boost mood and social confidence, contributing to a more relaxed and enjoyable holiday experience. Another benefit is that it may induce deep, natural sleep patterns without excessive grogginess, helping to combat short-term holiday-related insomnia. To microdose cannabis effectively for holiday anxiety, consider the following tips. Start low. Begin with a dose of 1 to 2.5 milligrams of THC and maintain this dose for at least 3 days. If you're new to cannabis, begin with an even lower dose and gradually work your way up. Gradually increase. If needed, slowly increase the dosage in 1 milligram increments until you begin to feel the desired effects. Consistency. Once you find an effective dose, stick with it for at least 4 days to assess its impact. I would say that I plateaued at certain, like I can still take a 2 milligram edible and feel the benefits of calming your anxiety.
Stoned.
You're not stoned.
No, but you're
so you can. I'm just saying, like as being a daily, like very consistent user, my tolerance can still hack. Like that's effective for me.
It's an even keel.
Yeah, it's just there's no head high, but for someone brand new, 2 milligrams can be a head high.
Yeah.
So, choose the right product. CBD dominant strains or products with balanced THC CBD ratios, like a 10 to 1. 10 milligrams CBD to 1 THC is fantastic to get started.
Yeah, even a 21 is even great.
Yeah, yeah.
I like a good 20 to 1.
And that's a really great ratio for anxiety relief. And consider terpenes. Look for cannabis products containing terpenes like limonene, pinene, and beta-caryophyllene, which have stress-relieving properties. And timing is key. Plan your microdose schedule around holiday events or stressful situations to maximize its effectiveness. While microdosing can be beneficial, there are some general precautions. Consider potential interactions with alcohol or other medications you might be taking during the holidays. And remember, everyone reacts differently to cannabis, so what works for you may not work for others. By incorporating microdosing into your holiday stress management strategy, you may find yourself better equipped to handle the pressures and anxieties that often accompany the festive season. This approach allows you to potentially benefit from the calming effects of cannabis while maintaining clarity and function during holiday activities and gatherings. Yes, I oftentimes find myself lately.
Before we leave the house.
Yeah, I just pop a 2 milligram.
Yeah, I see you all the time. Pop a little mint in there, or take a low dose THC, maybe with some THCV and some CBD in it. I've seen you do that a few times too. It's good stuff. Before we go to politics, state, and business news, talking about going back to the social media thing, if I can ask everybody out there, since I don't have social media anymore as of right now, can you do me a solid and share the episode with people? Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Every time I post an episode, if you don't mind, just sharing it with friends and family and people you know that smoke, that want to get educated and learn more, it would help Mr. or Mrs. Weeman out truly, because since I can't share with all of you out in the world right now until I figure my shit out. So I would appreciate everybody out there. Sharing is caring, especially
and feel free to follow 8 Decades if you don't already, because I also cross-promote Weedman with limitations because I'm trying not to get flagged.
Yes. So we appreciate everybody out there for sharing the show. Political, state, and business news. Hemp growers in Illinois push back against proposed new regulation Illinois hemp growers are opposing proposed regulations that would tighten oversight, such as unannounced inspections and restrictions on licensing for those with past drug-related convictions. Critics argue these rules could hurt small minority-owned businesses, claiming they may lead to over-policing and financial burdens. The Illinois Department of Agriculture delayed final approval to allow further decisions and discussions through the agency says it's aligning state regulations with federal hemp laws. The rules will be reconsidered in December. Joe Biden, how about pardoning non-violent cannabis prisoners along with those Thanksgiving turkeys? It's People Not Poultry project, the Last Prisoner Project, wants Joe Biden to free thousands of non-violent pot prisoners still incarcerated. It's been over 2 years since Biden announced a pardon for all federal offenses of simple marijuana possessions. None have been released. Minnesota cannabis industry still a distant reality as delays continue. As of Tuesday, November 26th, there's some Minnesota facing some license lottery is set, but the officials of the cannabis management has selected 648 applications for pre-approval, but 2 lawsuits were filed challenging rejections of certain applicants. One plaintiff is accused of using straw applicants to gain an unfair advantage in the lottery. It's unclear that its lawsuits will postpone the license distribution, but OCM remains focused on preventing bad actors from exploiting the system. Michigan cannabis sales a little slow in October. October sales were $268.6 million. Sales were a little up, though, 2% from the year earlier. Still not bad, Michigan. Still not bad. Now that Ohio has opened up, you will see a drop. Plus, it's fall. At cannabis class, Arizona seniors go back to high school. Now, we're talking about senior citizens here are going back, not seniors in high school. Senior citizens are going back to high school. The Giving Tree Dispensary in Phoenix is hosting a coffee and cannabis classes aimed at education seniors on cannabis use. These classes, which began in October 2024, cater to people age 55 and older, helping them navigate the modern cannabis landscape with a focus on how cannabis...
55 and older
Yeah.
are senior citizens?
Yeah.
Are we that close to...
No. But you do get your AARP card at 55.
Oh. Wow.
With a focus on how cannabis can alleviate pain and improve quality of life, attendees learn about different byproducts types like edibles and vapes. The goal is to empower seniors with knowledge so they can make informed decisions when purchasing cannabis. I think that's great. Beer industry group pushes tighter regulations for cannabis products and higher taxes than are levied on alcohol. Yeah, okay, beer and weed go hand in hand. Your breweries now are starting to make THC products, and now you want to fuck us. We've never fucked you. We've always drank you while we were smoking our joints and always talk highly of beer. And the beer industry group wants to come at us.
That's because their numbers are down.
Of course. But
you're stealing the show.
It's not that people aren't drinking. Weed is legal.
People are getting smarter.
You fought and for your legalization rights. We're still fighting for our legalization rights. Beer, okay. So the Beer Institute, a trade group representing breweries, is advocating for stricter regulations and higher taxes on cannabis products than those applied to alcohol. They call for a zero tolerance policy on THC impaired driving, citing the inability to accurately measure THC impairment. The group also wants to maintain the ban on mixing THC and alcohol, regulating packaging to prevent appeal to minors, and ensure responsible marketing. This push highlights growing concerns from the alcohol industry about competition from cannabis as its popularity rises. Let me tell you something, beer industry. You have many major beer companies now that own a piece of cannabis. Constellation being one of them, okay? One of the biggest beer companies in the world, okay? Heineken owns Lagunitas, has Hi-Fi Hops, which is a beverage sold in California. Are you telling me you're going to go against your brethren here and fight them because they're also selling THC products? We, the cannabis consumer, like I said, I watched my dad grow up smoking weed, and what did he have in his hand? A beer. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me here? You're fucking us. We can make it a little worse for you. So that by not drinking you at all, not supporting it, and just strictly going to weed and drinking water, just a little stick in the ass right there, a little.
Well, they're just going to use their power.
Turn the
it's
screw.
It's like a spoiled little kid. Like,
yeah,
they're ruining my party.
Crying like a bunch of babies.
They don't get a goodie bag.
You've been legal since Prohibition ended for you a long time ago. We're still fighting, and we're still getting fucking beat up every day. You're now making money.
They're not going to lose their space.
Of course not. GOP senator says marijuana banking and rescheduling are half-assed measures, arguing cannabis should be legally regulated like alcohol and tobacco. a GOP senator. Senator Tom Tills, Republican North Carolina, criticized marijuana banking rescheduling efforts, calling them half-assed and advocating for full federal regulation of cannabis, akin to alcohol and tobacco. He argues that these piecemeal reforms ignore the broader need for a consistent regulatory framework. Tills also expressed concerns over the risk of hemp-derived products, which he delivers are more harmful than cannabis itself. He supports comprehensive legalization that includes excise taxes and strict regulations on cannabis marketing, flavorings, and banking. The cannabis industry's biggest conference before that, what I want to say, what he was talking about, he's 100% right. Every senator and congressman, if you really wanted to get this done, you would stop trying to sneak the bills in. We've talked about this on prior shows, trying to sneaking the bills in to other bills. And then you half-ass it, like this senator said, and you half-ass it, so then they're gonna cancel. Like you're trying to get the banking, the MORE Act or the banking law put into this new war bill, this new funding, and you're gonna try to sneak that in. So then none of it's gonna get passed. Instead of, like you said, not being half-assed and coming with a full-page bill, keep it simple, and get federal legalization in the banking done. You just keep on doing shit sideways. That means, to me, you don't really want it done. And cannabis is now, since the election is over, it's been forgot about. Mm-hmm. You know, so they needed us for a hot minute, dangling that cheese and that carrot. The cannabis industry's biggest conference and trade show is weeks away. November. Now it's the 13th year. MJ BizCon draws tens of thousands of international pot professionals to Las Vegas Convention Center for a week of networking, education, and fun. With over 1,400 exhibitors, that's a lot. Dozens of top-notch speakers and never-ending list of after parties, deciding which route can make it difficult. Fortunately, the 2024 Cannabis Week has plenty of new and exciting offerings. MJ BizCon is all about fostering connections and sparking innovation, especially at this critical moment for the cannabis sector, said Sarah Wilson, vice president of the event of sales in MJ BizCon. Our new layout and features set the stage for industry professionals to collaborate and learn as we navigate this pivotal time together. A slew of networking events curated for everyone from MJ BizCon first-timers to social equity licenses holders round out the panels. Expo Hall and outdoor smoke sesh. And while MJ BizCon is the reason for the season, there's plenty of off-site to do during the Cannabis Week as well. I will be there. My first one. I will be there from December 3rd to December 6th.
I'm a little jealous.
My second time going out to Las Vegas. And reach out to me by email if anybody out in Vegas that listens to the show wants to meet up. I will tell you where I'll be at or meet you out front and smoke a big fat doink with you. Get it all baked. So send me an email at weman420chronicles@gmail.com and I'll tell you where I'll be at. Prominent Republicans back safe and regulated marijuana legalization group. Good. Arkansas medical marijuana sales down year over year through October. Total medical marijuana sales from Arkansas has topped $1.2 billion thus far since the market launched in 2019. Arkansas's medical marijuana sales are down slightly over the year through the end of October, according to newly released state data, which shows that cannabis sales for 2024 at $227.8 million as opposed to $234 million for the first full 10 months of 2023. That's total. Culture is not something you can buy. Why genuine engagement matters in cannabis. I thought about you when I was reading this too. I said, I was going to give this to you to read, but I'd rather read it too because it just makes sense. At a recent cannabis market spotlight, California event in Anaheim, Chelsea Kozawar, Puffco's vice president of global expansion, emphasized the need for authenticity in the cannabis industry. Speaking to a crowd of industry peers and enthusiasts, Kozawar addressed how brands can best connect with cannabis community by moving beyond traditional sales tactics, building connection through culture. We've talked about the reason why I thought about you is we just had this conversation about culture and cannabis. During her panel discussion, Kozawar highlighted that cultivating real brand loyalty in cannabis involves more than financial investment. Culture is not something you can just throw money at and buy. Ain't that the fucking truth? Kozawar explained, stressing that brands must deeply understand the community they aim to serve. She recommended approaching the industry with a student mentality to learn from those who have shaped it and continue to drive it forward. Prioritizing community loyalty. According to Kazower, Puffco's focus on community loyalty starts with engaging the people who define cannabis culture, growers, advocates, and those developing the craft behind the scenes. Before the brand loyalty or anything, it's really engaging with the culture and the community loyalty, recognizing that individuals who contribute to cannabis brands' successes through dedication to the craft. This approach, she said, fosters a more genuine bond with the community and supports long-term brand successes. Long-term brand successes. I thought that was great. Staying positive amid industry challenges. In light of recent challenges with the cannabis industry, Kosauer expressed feeling heavy but emphasized that the mission remains unchanged. She reinforced her commitment to advancing the normalization of cannabis, focusing on positivity and supporting the love in the world, not just the negativity and the profits and margins. But that's just Mr. Weedman throwing it out there. Wasn't that good? I thought it was really good. We talk about culture in the cannabis community, and there's not enough of it. I think a lot of brands are young. They don't know the history. Like, I worked for a company. I mentioned the Waldos, and they had no clue. I'm like, well, how can you promote 420 when you don't know where actually 420 came from? Remember that? I was fucking like, whoa. And I'm not saying I was the master. I learned about it from another company, but a long time ago. And I had heard of 420, kind of the stories of where it came from, but never like, if you're going to promote 420 and you're going to promote cannabis freedom, you better know where the term 420 came from. Even if you don't know the whole story, you should know. And you're from California too. That made it even worse. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't know the Waldos, and I get it.
There's a lot of people that don't know just the overall history.
Listen to our 420 shows.
And even a lot of just consumers that don't really, they just like weed. They don't really care about the culture.
But if you're going to promote 420,
if you're going to promote it,
and your brand,
know,
and you're going to market it, you better know the fucking history of 420, where it came from then. Because if someone asks you, so what's 420? Oh, so it's when you smoke weed.
No.
Yes. But no.
I know. There's more to it.
There's some history behind it. So I like that, though, keeping the culture. There is a lot of culture in cannabis.
There's a lot.
But the thing is, we're losing that was past because now it's just so focused on what? Profit and margin. Ken Paxton sues Dallas over new marijuana law. The Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed a lawsuit against cities, including Dallas, that have adopted marijuana decriminalization measures. Paxton argues that the cities are violating Texas law, which prohibits local governments from enforcing state drug laws. In response, local advocates like Ground Game Texas, who spearheaded the efforts, viewed the lawsuit as undemocratic, pointing out that the voters overwhelmingly supported decriminalization initiatives. Yes, the voters voted for it, not the Dallas Council, City Council, that we're going to do this. The voters came out, and they voted your boss in there, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Dallas and other cities maintain decriminalization is a legal change in enforcement priorities, not full legalization. Lawsuit says DEA acting in bad faith over marijuana. Dave Heldred, CEO of Pancha Plant Science, has filed a lawsuit against the DEA accusing it of acting in bad faith over marijuana rescheduling efforts. Heldred claims the DEA violated federal law and constitutional principles by ignoring scientific recommendations from agencies like the FDA and obstructing rescheduling progresses. The lawsuit also argues the DEA failed to consult Native American tribes, despite the impact of tribal law enforcement. Heldred challenges the legality of DEA's judgment appointments, further intensifying criticism of the agency's stance on cannabis reform. Cities most put marijuana tax revenue towards police and general funds instead of education and health programs, new study shows. So our tax dollars that we spend at the dispensaries and all the other tax dollars, it's going mostly to police who put you in jail for weed and general funds. So basically
right?
Politicians' pockets. Because that's what the general funds is, just a general slush fund money where we can go spend money on. Oh, we got more budget. Let's go throw some heavy dinners and whatever. A study from Ohio State University reveals that most cities are allocating marijuana tax revenue towards police and general funds rather than education and health programs. The research focused on Michigan, New Mexico, Oregon, and Ohio, showing that 60% of localities deposits the funds in general budgets, with a significant portion supporting law enforcement. Smaller jurisdictions, especially with those of populations under 25,000, are more likely to follow this trend. The study suggests these spending priorities often don't align with residents' desires for education and housing investments. You know how much money I've read in tax revenue that these states get Illinois, $412 million.
It's crazy. Right.
And you're telling me people have to live on the streets because you're giving. I've read before how much goes in prior episodes, how much Illinois, and where you can go look this up, where the money's going. And we read it was going to the police fund, police training, police this, knew this, and then the general funds was higher, and then everything else was little in the graph. Sickening that we let this happen. Kentucky doctors can start issuing medical marijuana recommendations to patients next month, governor announces. Beginning December 1st, the authorized practitioners will be able to begin issuing valid written certifications to Kentucky patients, the governor said. So on December 1st, not only can you go online and find where these practitioners are, but you can also go ahead and go see them and have your written certification issued to them. There's currently 154 health professionals authorized to recommend medical cannabis, and the number is growing weekly. Hell yeah. Kentucky medical marijuana lottery dominated by out-of-state pot companies. Didn't we go down there to find out and get some information?
We did.
And we were told that you had to live in that state for what?
2 years.
2 years. And now you have out-of-state pot companies going into Kentucky and getting more license than the locals. How does that happen?
Because they set up there 2 years ago.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Kentucky Governor
Or
Andy
they
Bechner.
they
paid
used
somebody.
someone's name,
Yeah, of course.
who is a resident.
Yep.
Right.
Unveiled 26 medical cannabis applicants who won a cultivator or processor license in late October through a random lottery drawing, repeating its often used line that the system was the fairest and most transparent way to allocate limited licenses for the new state program. But the end results of the first lottery have shown some questioning whether the process has allowed several deep-pocket marijuana companies to game the application process and push out Kentucky applicants. Mm-hmm. Shame.
Shame, shame, shame.
Shame.
Just like everybody else.
Yep. As more medical cannabis patients use the retail shops, Vermont wants to improve employee education. Vermont's efforts to enhance employee training at retail cannabis shops, especially as more medical cannabis patients turn to these recreational establishments, Vermont's Cannabis Control Board is focusing on providing specialized training to dispensary staff to ensure they can meet the needs of medical users who may have specific health requirements. This move is crucial as the retail market continues to grow, with the state aiming to integrate medical cannabis more effectively into the broader market while maintaining support for the patients who rely on it for non-treatment. Is another Michigan, who I just told you about their state. Their medical sales are down 79%. They only did $1 million in medical sales last month.
Why?
Because recreational is just as cheap now. I mean,
So they don't need to, or they
know.
could be getting it from a caregiver grower.
but it's still not as big as, like, weed is so cheap in Michigan.
Yeah.
You don't need your medical card. It's
Okay.
it's actually really cheap. I mean, you can get edibles for like $4 for 200 milligrams.
crazy. Yeah.
$4.
And then they have like buy one, get 5 free kind of thing.
It's out of control. So I mean, that's why your medical sales. You totally just said fuck medical sales, basically, and fucked all the people that actually used weed as medicine. So it's sad. All charges dismissed against Nebraska medical marijuana petition notary accused of official misconduct. That's good. All charges against J.C. Todd, a notary accused of official misconduct related to Nebraska's medical marijuana petitions, has been dismissed. And they're saying that the case has broad implications for medical cannabis initiative in Nebraska, where the state was trying to invalidate petitions based on alleged misconduct. But also the judge ruled the notaries are considered public officials performing government functions and rejected the state's claim. So, and I think they're still, what we talked about last week, they're still going to count what happened. So the votes, and they're going to allow this to move forward. We'll see. Top drug policy group releases draft marijuana executive order and wants Biden to sign before leaving office. The Drug Policy Alliance has released a draft executive order urging President Biden to take action on marijuana policy before leaving office. The proposal includes creating a national advocacy council to promote equity, reinvesting cannabis enforcement guidelines, and addressing issues like marijuana-related immigration barriers and veterans' access to medical marijuana. The order aims to expand on Biden's previous pardons and rescheduling actions and guide future administrations in creating equitable cannabis policies. Court agrees with ban on medical marijuana advertising in Mississippi. A Mississippi medical marijuana dispensary owner has filed a lawsuit challenging the state's advertising ban, claiming it violates his First Amendment rights. The lawsuit argues that the state's restrictions on marketing, including prohibiting product listings on websites, harm his business and amount of unconstitutional censorship. Mississippi legalized medical marijuana in 2022, but the state enforces some of the strictest advertising bans. With no comparable regulations in other states, the case is ongoing with state officials yet to respond. Senate Farm Bill draft seeks to close loopholes, because they don't like the word business development, I presume, for intoxicating hemp. The Senate has revealed its much-awaited version of the Farm Bill, reflecting significant changes in the federal hemp regulations. Democratic Senator Debbie Stanbro of Michigan and chair of the Senate Agriculture Committee revealed a version of the Farm Bill earlier this week, featuring updated hemp regulations. The most significant change in the proposed amendments to federal hemp policy is aimed at closing loopholes used by some hemp businesses to produce to selling intoxicating hemp products. I like to call them business development. These products contain THC but are not legal because they are derived from hemp with a THC content of no more than 3%, even though the finished products themselves often have higher THC potency. This is a situation that's across from the 2018 Farm Bill, which gave birth to the multi-billion-dollar market, but one that has thus far drawn criticism not only from prohibitionists but also from those in the recreational marijuana industry. A section of the Senate Farm Bill draft addressing hemp appears less restrictive than the amendment proposed by the Republican Mary Miller of Illinois in the U.S. House Committee of Agriculture in May. Miller's amendment imposed a federal ban on all intoxicating hemp-derived and synthesized cannabinoid products, which could potentially disrupt the $28 billion gray market industry. While the language used in the Senate draft may leave the door open for some intoxicating hemp products, nevertheless, both the House proposal by the Republican Rep. Miller and Senate proposed by Democratic Senator Stanbo include measures to close loopholes, allowing the production of intoxicating hemp products, reflecting the bipartisan effort to narrow the loopholes used to sell these products. I am very interested, and I know a lot of people are very interested in what's going to happen in this next Farm Bill, because there's a lot of companies that have spent a lot of money, a lot of legal cannabis market companies, MSOs, have started hemp lines. A lot of them have.
Yep.
And there's a lot of smaller companies, and there's a lot of mom and pop shops, and there's a lot of people making money on CBD, THC-derived, hemp-derived products. You also have to understand, for all you recreational marijuana people out there that have money vested in your companies are pissed off that the hemp industry is making money. If you destroy the hemp industry, if they can't make any cannabinoids and all they got to do is make hemp fiber and plastic and all that stuff, textiles, and cannot make any cannabinoids anymore out of hemp, where are you going to get your CBD from for your recreational marijuana? Where are you going to get your CBN from? Where are you going to get your CBG? Where are you going to get your and you can't make any synthetic stuff either. So all the synthetic stuff that's being made, you can't get any isolate. You can't get any of it. You can't get any THCV because the cannabis plant that you're growing in your cultivation is only grown for THC. You might have some that has a little bit of CBD in it, but you don't have any strains in there unless you've gotten some and you're regrowing to try to get that 2, 3, 4, 5% up there in your grow and legal cultivation here in all of this country. You are fucked. There'll be no ratio gummies. You're fucking your money and yourselves by doing this. You need to fight for hemp to survive. No more gray market. No, fine, if you don't want them to do THC, I get it, I understand. But they need to be able to make all the other cannabinoids and be able to sell those in gummies and sell them in what they want to sell. You are fighting a battle that you should not be fighting right now. You should be protecting. And someone tell me I'm wrong. But I think I know a little bit more than a lot out there, especially on some of the growers I've had on the show in the Grow Hour, talking with Big Earl, talking with other breeders. You've knocked out all the other cannabinoids. There's not enough, and like we've talked about,
they're just growing for THC strength because that's what sells.
Right. But when you make your ratios, CBN, the hottest cannabinoid in the market, CBG coming right behind it, CBC right behind it, THCV. CBD, all of them, CBD, all. You're fucking yourselves. You need to make sure the hemp industry is allowed.
They're complementary businesses. They need to back each other up, and I understand one is more regulated than the other, and that makes people mad in both directions, right? It's not a win-win for everybody, but we have to get it to a win-win, and if we keep this division, it's not. It's just going to be, okay, well, now cannabis sets back hemp, and then hemp's going to set back cannabis, and cannabis is going to set back hemp, and we're never going to be this parallel, let's move forward together scenario that really needs to happen so that we can have good product on the market for people.
I've said this probably on a lot of episodes. There's enough money in this industry for everybody.
Yeah.
Stop making it a billionaire's game, because you're not going to become a billionaire in this industry. You might try. Your company might be worth $1 billion, but you ain't going to make $1 billion. It's just not going to happen. It's not meant. The tax man is making sure that for sure. But we all need each other. And then you're fucking states that don't have legalized cannabis, that are able to get all different types of cannabinoids and be able to try THC that's from hemp. That's not killing your business in a state like Tennessee or a state like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Idaho.
It's not going to prevent people from still wanting cannabis to get
right. Now they're going to go back
there.
to the fucking black market. Mm-hmm. If they don't have a traditional market person that they can trust, they're going to go back to the black market.
Right.
Which now you don't know what the fuck they're getting. If there's a home grower they know or somebody that grows that's been their old plug, I totally understand. That's traditional market. Black market is very illegal grow. You don't know what's being made. They got slaves basically
Not
working.
for quality
right.
either.
It's slave labor. They're bringing people over from other countries, working on these farms, and they're making around, and they leave. And they go to the next farm, and they do it again. You don't know what it's
that
shit.
flower changes hands.
Oh,
Who
God,
knows how
gross.
many times?
Right.
It's just poor quality.
So you're all doing a disservice to hemp that we all want. We all need. Just like we need cannabis, we need both. So you should be sticking up for one another, because both has been in prohibition since 1937 until 2018. 2018 when the hemp farm bill came. That was a start.
Yeah.
That was a start for us. It was a high five moment. And then what did I say was, when you started launching that Delta 8 like crazy, synthesizing it and doing all this stuff, trying to do the gray market way, I said this. Remember, Mrs. Weedman? I said, you're gonna get fucking.
Yep.
You're gonna fuck this. Mm-hmm. I said it years ago. What 3?
They were pushing the limits too far.
Too fast. Mm-hmm. You started selling it to gas stations, and teenagers started buying it, and parents got fucking, my kid's fucking doing, they didn't even know what the fuck Delta 8 was. Mm-hmm. You pushed it too fast without working it
just caused
slowly.
Complete confusion.
And you caused chaos in the industry, which was a positive.
For the consumers,
right.
Complete chaos too.
And for the industry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as a whole. So I'm just trying to tell you is, all my friends and all the people I know in the legal cannabis industry and all the people I know in the farm hemp industry, you need to come together and fix this shit and figure it out and fight for one another, because we could win. Not only there's 400-something thousand people in the cannabis industry working in it, there's mom and pop shops and families that own hemp farms and own small head shops and sell hemp online and making a good living for their family. Are they millionaires? They might be making a couple $100,000 a year, and that's a good life for them.
Yeah.
They ain't taking your money. You're already making millions, or you got millions of sales coming in. Excuse me. I'm just saying is, come together. Let's fix our shit and walk together in solidarity and move forward in the industry and stop fighting one another. Because look what happened in Florida. The hemp industry fighting the cannabis industry, and what happened? That Amendment 3 bill did not pass. So hemp industry, you fucked yourself, because you could have used that to help you out sell more product. Stop being greedy, everybody. This is a business for everybody to make money in. It's a good crop, a healthy crop, a crop that a lot of people around this world use and smoke and use it for textiles and use it to, it's a phenomenal plant. Do you want to know why, Ms. Weedman?
Why?
Because there's angels in those leaves. What are some of the lessons from America's great cannabis liberalization experiment? You weren't a fan of this article.
I did.
It was, you know why? All right, Mrs. Weedman is a phenomenal editor. She can read an article, and she wrote all my papers for me in college, so it was great when I went back. She helped me. I wrote them. She goes, you're going to write them, I'm going to edit them. And you did. You're a phenomenal writer, and she hates when I give her props and credit and all that stuff. I embarrass her, I get it. But she reads some articles, and she has to edit it all.
This one I had to edit a lot. So here we go. The U.S. has come a long way in legalizing cannabis use, with nearly half of the states legally permitting recreational cannabis use. Yet its legalization remains an ever-present, heated, and polarizing debate. One that is often exploited by politicians to win votes, either by stoking fear of the harms that will come from legalization or by the promise of decreased violent crime and increased tax revenue from cannabis sales. The science around the harms of cannabis is relatively well established, although much of the information is from outdated research. So this is my edit. I just had to take a whole bunch of stuff out because
It was outdated research.
Not true. Okay, I just read about that. So moving on. The important question is really, how are the harms affected by legalization? The harms of cannabis, that is. Cannabis potency is a main driver of cannabis harm, and U.S. states with legal cannabis have seen a dominance of high-potency THC products. The increase in potency began, however, during Prohibition in both the United States and Europe. Cannabis use rates are higher in states where cannabis is legal. This doesn't mean that legalization necessarily drives people to use cannabis, but data suggests that legalization is associated with an increase in adult cannabis use. This topic is complex to research because background trends are that cannabis use rates in both the U.S. and Europe have been rising since the early 2000s, long before legalization was introduced. Rates of substance use, such as cannabis, are normally gathered from surveys, which have historically been prone to underreporting due to social desirability biases, where respondents to surveys conceal their true opinions on a subject. In an innovative study approach, where researchers indirectly ask people about their cannabis use, known as the crosswise model, Swedish researchers reported almost 2 to 3 times as much cannabis use versus standard surveys. This is in line with other research finding people are more likely to admit doing risky things depending on how they are asked about it. Drug policy decisions within a legal framework can have a substantial effect on the number of people who use a drug and the level of harm society experiences. And a serious debate on legalization should also consider the effectiveness and potential harms of prohibition itself. Prohibition drives profits from cannabis sales and other drugs to criminals, which helps them grow their organizations and expand their activities. And studies have found links between increased drug law enforcement and increased law. Many more harms of prohibition have been discussed by experts, and the evidence that punitive laws prevent cannabis use is very weak. Overall, there is no perfect drug policy, and drugs such as cannabis will always exist in human societies. Future cannabis policy considerations should take a nuanced and evidence-based approach, learning from the U.S. and other parts of the world where cannabis laws have relaxed.
Good one.
So,
you know, you had to edit some of it.
Yeah, it was okay.
International news. Germany hosts 5 other European nations at joint marijuana meeting to discuss legalization experiences. Germany hosted a meeting with representatives from Luxembourg, Malta, the Netherlands, the Czech Republic, and Switzerland to discuss cannabis legalization and regulation. The focus was on public health, preventing illicit markets, and sharing regulatory experiences. Germany's recent cannabis reform, which started back in April of 2024, aims to reduce health risk and the illegal trade, despite the progress some political fractions in Germany are pushing to reverse the law. Germany cannabis 20 tons, 10 grams, that's only 0.3% of the market. What's missing? Germany's medical cannabis market saw a significant increase in imports, reaching 20.1 tons in Q3 of 2024, fueled by revisions to the narcotics law into April. Despite this, only a small portion of the population, less than 0.3%, currently uses medical cannabis, indicating considerable room for growth. Canada remains the largest supplier, but its market share has dropped, while Portugal, Denmark, Spain, and Uruguay have increased their contributions. Challenges like supply consistency and streamlined prescriptions processes need addressing for future market expansion. Pot smokers warned to keep their marijuana out of Baja California. We've had some situations where average citizens, those not connected with organization crimes or drug cartels, are stopped with marijuana, says Robalis Segura. They are young people who have double citizenships or can cross the border legally, and when they come back from the U.S., they have marijuana in them that they bought legally in California. Robalis Segura is warning people that it's not just marijuana that's illegal, but vaping products with THC. If they cross the border with marijuana products, pot cigarettes, or a kilo of it, people will be issued 80,000 pesos, which is $4,200 in American dollars. It's illegal to import this type of merchandise. They're also subjected to incarceration. Recently, Mexico's Supreme Court has ruled it was unconstitutional to fine people with less than 5 grams of marijuana if it's for personal use. But Robles Segura says it doesn't apply for importing cannabis. So be careful. New Botswana leader eyes cannabis sunshine to lift the economy. Botswana will diversify its diamond-dependent economy by launching into medical cannabis market and exploiting its abundant sunshine. President Dumbuko said Tuesday in his first State of the Union address. All right, Botswana, go for it. Moldova approves hemp farming to seed and fiber, but flower for CBD is still restricted. Boo. Farmers in Moldova will finally be able to grow industrial hemp for food and fiber outputs after amendments to regulate cultivation were approved by the government last week. Fiji works to legalize cannabis industry, says Kamika. I was going to say Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z, but I don't know that spelled that wrong.
And I was going to say, chameleon.
You come and go. Government is making progress in plans to establish a legal cannabis industry. With work on the necessary legalization in progress, Trade Minister Manoa Kamehameha said the legislation was the final piece of the process of establishing the industry in Fiji. It will probably take us until next year to finalize that legalization proposes. We have to do consultations as well, he said. Canadian cannabis sales slide in September. Canadian cannabis sales dropped 6.6% in September of 2024, totaling $443.9 million. The decrease followed a record-breaking August, while some provinces like Ontario and Alberta saw declines. Others like Quebec and British Columbia also reported drops compared to both previous months and year. Despite the slump, consumer demand on products outside of flower and pre-rolls have grown. That's international news, everybody. And this is a strange bit of fun and something maybe cute. I want you to do for me one day. Well, you said you were going to turn me into a bong. So why not this too? Why not both? So this YouTuber took her father's ashes on his dying wish and and basically smoked her dad, right?
Sounds kind of creepy, but let me explain.
Please do.
YouTube creator Rosanna Pansino paid tribute to her late father on the first episode of her new podcast, Ridiculous. The 39-year-old host opened up about her father, Papa Pizza, who died of leukemia 5 years ago, and revealed that his dying wish for her was to take his ashes, mix it in with some soil, grow a marijuana plant, and smoke him. That's right, folks.
That's a Willie Nelson song right there.
Before he passed, he told me, this is her speaking, and my mom, what he would like us to do with his ashes. And at first, my mom was a little bit hesitant, she explained. She thought, this is kind of hippie and people are going to judge us. But as time goes on, we just really think that it was the right thing to do. And it's what Dad wanted. And to honor him, we wanted to do it. Pansino then shared footage of her and her mom planting the marijuana plant using his ashes and added that it was very emotional and special, and I'm glad that we got to have these memories, honoring Dad together. If Papa Pizza could see this, he would get a huge kick out of it. She fulfilled his dying wish toward the middle of the episode and smoked the cannabis on camera while her mom and sister smoked it off camera. She opened up about dealing with her grief and said it felt like a part of her died with her dad at that time. She said, I thought over time the sadness would fade, but the grief is always with me. It feels like it's permanently attached to me. She also opened up more about her father and shared, he was kind of a Willie Nelson type. He smoked from time to time, and we even smoked a cigar together for my first time on my 18th birthday, which made fulfilling his dying wish even more special to her. She went on to say, he taught me to respect life and not be wasteful. My dad was a badass and quite a little rebel, and I'll be following in his footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
Cute.
Hey, yo.
Hey.
Papa Pizza.
Papa Pizza. So, yeah, you could smoke your spouse later. Or
It's a Willie Nelson song,
yeah,
isn't it?
your dog.
Roll me up and smoke me when I die.
Yeah.
Fucking classic right there. That's the song I want you to sing when you're smoking me. Roll me up and smoke me when I die.
Yep. With Lagunitas between your thighs.
Oh, shit. Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
That's the end of the show.
Yep.
Got anything else to say?
I'm thankful for you, Mr. Weedman.
Oh, wow. Look who's the mushy one.
Oh, and I am even like
You
blushing
got blushy?
because I said that.
Wow, your cheeks all rosy. Oh, it'd be still in my heart, everybody. If I died right now, I'd be happy.
I'll plant you then and smoke you.
When I die. Anything else?
That's all.
Everybody out there.
Everybody, happy Thanksgiving.
Everybody out there in
Night.
the world, happy Thanksgiving. From Mrs. Weedman and I to all of you and all of yours, we love you. Thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving all around the world. Whether you celebrate Thanksgiving or not, be thankful just for who the fuck you are, right?
That's right.
We love you out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.